think there's still a way to make this work.
Oh.
Let me figure that out.
You're going over to railing, buddy.
Ooh, bacon.
Greetings, tasty morsels. Today we're watching Silo, episode 4. Episode 5.
Nice save. No one noticed.
Which is entitled The Janitor's Boy. I assume that refers to whoever it was that attacked Deputy, is it Marnes?
Proud of you.
Speaking of the previous episode, we had the aftermath of the death by apparent poisoning of the mayor. Aside from that, the episode was largely about Juliette facing various degrees of pushback against her now being the sheriff from the one assistant who was in the sheriff's office who was very openly hostile to her, and of course from Deputy Marnes, who, rightly pointed out that she has absolutely no freaking idea what she's doing as sheriff. We did get to see a few moments, though, that demonstrated that she does have the mental acumen to probably do well at the job, especially in the detective aspects of it. But the ultimate thing that came out of it is that she was able to forge a sort of a connection with the deputy over their mutual loss of people close to them and the desire to find out what conspiratorial forces were behind their loved ones' deaths. I have a lot of stuff going through my head right now on who killed the mayor. When I was editing, which I'm still not done yet, because Silo's a very difficult reaction series to edit because there's just so much going on and I have a lot of thoughts. So trying to figure out what to keep and what to cut out so that it can actually survive copyright checks on YouTube is extremely hard.
Sounds like a you problem.
Going back through the edit for episode 3, I was paying attention to all the times that anyone could have had opportunity to poison the mayor. We had the guy that was stopped on the stairwell during the power outage, who, interestingly enough, seemed to be carrying the exact same pack or type of pack as the mayor, which could be an indication that maybe he swapped packs at some point, but when would he have had the opportunity? We saw something that I didn't think about because I was largely focusing on the repair crew and the one deputy who was with them who did express extreme admiration for Holston, which could indicate bitterness at the idea that Juliette might get the position, which could make him willing to do something to the mayor, perhaps at judicial request, perhaps at of his own volition, who knows. But a person who I didn't think about at all that I noticed during the editing process was Martha.
Why did you say that name?
The woman who ran, I don't know what all she oversees. I don't know if she oversees the entire area down there, including the area with the generator and all that, or what. I don't really know exactly what her position is. We know that she's the one who assigned Juliette to her first job and everything, so it kind of seems like she runs that whole sector, I guess you could say, of the silo. But I noticed that she gave tea to the mayor, and they have history. So it could have been her who poisoned the mayor, and it might not even have had a political reason. It could have been as simple as just trying to keep Juliette from being taken away, or to protect Juliette, or just to get vengeance over some slight, perceived or real, from their shared past together. I don't know. But I decided I needed to add her to the list. And one out of left field, just because I'm including this one just because I don't know the nature of this place well enough to be able to rule this out. I'm going to have to add the deputy in there because there were some weird little moments where he almost seemed to have like another kind of thought process going on sometimes when he looked at the mayor. Like most of the time, it was really clear that he, was infatuated with her. And as we saw later, they both had an emotional connection with each other. But every now and then, it seemed almost like he was looking at her with different eyes or almost like different emotions. And obviously, he would have had opportunity to have poisoned her. That only really works if there's some element of mind control, like maybe you have sleepers who can be activated for certain things somehow, or if these people aren't entirely people. You know what I mean?
We're not Cylons from Alex Doctor Who show.
But again, these are sorts of things where there's elements of what the silo is, what the people who live there are, what the before times were, etc. This whole setup that we just don't have yet. So I'm literally just including that as a wild card pending more information. But anyway, let's go ahead and get right into this episode and find out who the heck is the janitor's boy. Wow, so he died, and just that quick. Tell you what, there's a lot of contamination of crime scenes in the silo. Are you removing evidence from a crime scene? Is that okay? There's so much I have to kind of guess at because I don't know how their system works.
I'm going to try to drink as much of Mayor John's liquor as I can.
I didn't even pour a cup for Juliette. It's interesting.
Pay attention.
Keep pumping the official line. Two older people walked the silo. It was too much for them. See your doctor.
Well, we
Make sure you
buried
get
them
it.
together.
Sorry, what?
One funeral, one grave. Conservation of resources.
Times like this, people don't give a shit about conservation. But we could say they were in love.
Were they?
The way they
They were.
nagged at each other, I always wondered. It doesn't matter, though.
If they were in a relationship, it was unsanctioned.
At their age, who gives a fuck? And if people do care, it's even better. Gets people talking about forbidden love. Anything but murder.
I find it very troubling how easily he comes up with narratives.
I'm going to announce a race to the top. Say Mayor Johns loved a good foot race. Award the Johns Trophy to the victor. People love an excuse to drink beer and yell.
Johns hated those races. She always thought they would get out of hand.
So he gets to kind of rub one in her face too while she's dead. Waste not, want not in this place. Makes sense. The people get buried in the garden so their bodies can feed the plants. I assume they've given up the silly practice of embalming.
Thankfully, I am but an interim mayor until someone can be elected to fill Ruth John's very large shoes. I'm not her literal shoes because her feet were rather small.
Interesting. I wonder how much of that was deliberate because we've seen how intelligent he is and how skilled he is at understanding people. So I wonder if his little screw up there was not so much down to him having bad social graces
I
and
honestly
him
don't know what to say about Martin.
disarming the population. Or
He and
the
I
people
didn't
here.
exactly hit it off. And here I am, speaking at Martin's burial in front of people who knew him better than I did. They dedicated their lives to this silo, like everyone does, from the up top to the down deep.
It was actually a pretty good speech for off the cuff.
Here are so founders, Ruth Johns and Samuel Marnes served your silo with their spirit, and now will serve with their flesh. Death into life. Circle without end.
Interesting. The symbolism is interesting to unpack, but it's also very interesting that these guys literally worship the founders of their society. Like they pray to them, even though they, of course, have to know they were just people like them.
Or were they?
He's definitely someone I suspect in terms of poisoning the mayor. Are you thinking about going out, buddy?
Funerals aren't really my thing.
Yeah, they're not really anyone's thing.
I don't know, man. Those, what was it, Nigerian funeral dancer guys? I guess it's their thing.
They were supposed to be for me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
What are they?
Look, you can't send a guy up 144 levels with a tin of hush puppies and not expect him to eat a couple.
There's one left.
I'm a big guy.
Hush puppies are so good. I want hush puppies.
On the way up, I said hey to my cousin on 72, and he asked if It's safe for his kids to go to school. It's a dangerous time in the silo,
And you're wondering if I can do this.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, you don't have to say it.
Now look, I've never won Deputy of the Year or nothing, but if you need anything, I'm just a tin of hush puppies away.
One hush puppy. Start with reading the pact and everything. Learn the laws you're meant to enforce.
Hey.
And ask all your deputies for help too. Just realized this is an episode written by the series creator. That usually indicates a pretty big episode. I don't know, she started keeping her door open.
I may want you to find out who killed Marnes, but Marnes, he wouldn't give a shit. He just wouldn't want judicial sending some poor bastard out to clean that doesn't deserve it.
Well, got another reason for common cause, at least. I have a feeling they'll be friends before the end. The only question is whether she'll be dead before then.
You should take Deputy Billings with you. He knows the pact, and you don't. If you get this wrong, even if you get who did it, judicial will throw it out.
Well, let's find out whether you can be trusted, Billings. Isn't that the guy that was wandering around outside on the night of the outage?
Hey.
He's one of my suspects.
You Charles Martin?
It wasn't me. I've been down on 62, getting tests.
Okay.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sure he wouldn't have been a match for Marnes. You saw his hand? He's got the syndrome.
Okay. A little more world building. So I'm assuming that's something people get because of exposure to something in the silo.
I need a moment. I'm gonna grab a sandwich, read the pact. I hear great things about it.
Be back in the office by 1.
I really love the idea that Holston's badge is just going to keep helping her solve the mystery over and over again in weird little ways. Like almost like he's still there with her investigating. Is the sheriff allowed to do that without a warrant, though? What did she just notice? Did you feel a draft or something? Oh, rat poison. Oh, she's the patsy. I'm wondering if if this person's the patsy, and they knew her investigation would lead her here, and they set all this stuff in here so that she would find it, and have basically her confirm the patsy herself, or if this is legitimately where the killer came from.
Who are you looking for?
Patrick Kennedy.
He's not here.
Where is he then?
Oh, Billy.
This is an apprentice.
Come in, Paul.
I don't know what they call them. Judiciacars? Justicars?
Find peace in the embrace of the goddess.
Our new sheriff okay with you coming back to judicial your first day on the job?
She thinks I went home for lunch.
What can I do for you?
Always be suspicious of conversations you don't get to see in a show, guys.
Judicial has its own investigation.
They get level rep reports first. And they get reports from people who don't officially exist.
Right, listeners.
Not what we call them, but yeah.
What do you call them?
Friends of the silo. None of what they say is admissible in court.
Are they usable to get warrants?
Who are the friends suggesting?
Ralph Melby. He works down in paper, first shift. He could have made it to the mids to poison their water. He could have made it up last night to get Marnes.
It's gambler, thief, 2 minor assaults. Why now?
Have to ask him.
Yeah, I mean, it is something you should follow up on.
Billings went to his friends in judicial and came back with a name, Ralph Melby. They want me to waste my time arresting Melby while they get their patsy.
Patrick Kennedy.
Yeah, that's gonna make me look incompetent. They'll send me back to mechanical and Billings gets the badge.
She's smart.
You requesting an arrest warrant means judicial's gonna send a goon to get him right away.
That's why I'm going.
7, 6, 5.
Said goon, I'm assuming.
I guess everyone makes mistakes, right? Yours was planting evidence in the wrong apartment.
Oh, she's gonna arrest judicial. You should have brought a backup with you. Have a feeling someone's about to go over the side. Willingly or otherwise. I would think her upper body strength would be pretty high relative to her weight, considering her job, her previous job. Oh, wow. Hope nobody dies. Ooh. Ooh. Wow. All these people running around and no one knows she's there. There you go. Good job. And they jump right back in the race. You really need it back up.
Doug Trumbull, Judicial Security. I'll get an arrest warrant. I wish you waited for me to come with you.
Well, I was just going to check out Kennedy's apartment. I didn't think someone was going to try and throw me over the rail.
Well, buddy, you're a liability now. I don't expect you to survive the night. This is the guy that was attacking Marnes, I think. Now that I really stop and think about how he looks. Janitorial, eh? And this episode is called The Janitor's Son.
Douglas, what are you doing here? I think there's still a way to make this work.
Al.
Let me figure that out.
You're going over the railing, buddy.
That door I came out of. First time I saw it, my father showed it to me. He was a janitor.
Ah, so it refers to you.
People look down on him, on our family.
That's a shame, because janitors are very
14.
important to society.
I got into a conflict with one of my classmates.
Don't get close to that railing, dude.
And one day I get to school, and Richard Elliott's crying. Seems his father's been reassigned to a job on 125, and they have to move. Just like that. My problem went away. I was wondering if maybe my dad had something to do with it. But he was just a janitor, right? He said he wanted to show me something. He took me to that door. He said if I wanted to shadow him, I would have to make a decision that would change my life forever.
Interesting. So your dad wasn't really a janitor. Or he was, but he's something else.
They might think that I was nothing more than a bookkeeper or a clerk or a janitor. But I would know the truth. That the people behind that door do the most important work of the silo.
Who are these people?
What I'm looking for in the shadow is drive and dedication. I've made my decision.
Why are you getting him so pumped up knowing you're about to kill him?
Are you willing to do anything to serve and protect the people of the silo?
Yes.
Are you willing to give everything you have to serve and protect the people of the silo?
Yes.
He's literally asking him, is it okay if I kill you now? Wow.
Trumbull took his own life. There's a note in there that we found in his pocket.
And they get their patsy.
Don't spend any more time on it. We have the killer of Mayor Johnson, Deputy Marnes, and he's dead. You already knew that the drawing and the rat poison were in the apartment before we looked.
Why are you having this conversation in front of them?
Why didn't you tell me what you were doing?
Because I didn't
Because you
trust
reported.
you.
Do you know?
Yeah, sure. As much as you trust me.
You guys will be friends before this is all over. You'll all be joining hands and singing Kumbaya.
You serious?
Even Cindy.
So you don't worry what happened to me tomorrow. I've been reassigned.
Why?
Because they know
I
she helped
requested
you. Oh, okay. Never mind.
You said if I wanted your help, I had to find out who killed Marnes.
Sorry, I didn't think you'd be able to do that, really.
Wow.
What was the feeling I'm being watched? By who?
By Judicial?
I don't know, by who?
By Bernard? By whoever's behind the janitorial door?
You did a good thing. I mean, Patrick Kennedy's an awful human being, but he didn't deserve to die. Not for something he didn't do.
I'm just happy that I...
Hey, don't make a big deal out of it. I still don't like you. Sheriff.
Well, you don't need her to like you, you just need her to respect you, and I think you earned that at least.
I didn't see why Holston would want you to be sheriff. But now I think I do. So for as long as I'm mayor, which I sincerely hope won't be for more than a few months, I want to help you in any way I can.
I don't trust you at all.
I need to get back down to mechanical. I didn't think I'd last, so I didn't pack much. So
We have porters that can do that.
I like to say goodbyes and stuff, you know?
All right. We'll see you in a couple days.
Thanks.
It's not going to look good, though. I'm paying attention also to how all of the furniture is, like, what is that, 50s/60s modern. That, to me, isn't a quinky-dink.
Yeah, don't read too much into it.
You gonna come see?
I kind of almost wish he had said, come and see. It's a line from the Book of Revelations in the
When it's clear at night,
Bible.
there's lights in the sky.
They're called stars, bro. Oh shit, they don't know about stars.
I've been watching them long enough to see these patterns. They repeat like they're traveling in this big circle.
I mean, we would expect procession, but that pattern looked very unnatural.
I see a W. Never noticed that before.
And I have.
It shouldn't be so regular. It's not natural if it's really regular. I don't mean the movement, I mean the actual pattern.
There are lights in the night sky.
Yeah, what are they?
I thought maybe you'd know.
I can't imagine human society that doesn't know what stars are. You know how long it's been since we first understood what stars were? It's been several hundred years. That pattern looked very unnatural.
Very unnatural.
Did you make headway with the thing I left you?
Yes, I did.
Which I did recognize as the camera later. I can't believe I didn't recognize it when they were first looking at it.
You are made of stupid.
For me, there are two big mysteries about the pact. One, they stipulate that we can't mechanize the way we go up and down in the silo. No lifts, no pulleys.
Yeah.
Two, no magnification beyond a certain power. So a relic like this is going to get you more than a slap on the wrist.
They don't want people to be able to see very small circuitry. And also cells. They don't want people to see cells. Are you guys entirely human?
Bernard wanted nothing more than to send me out to clean for snagging 2 boxes of shitty heat tape. I solved 2 murders, and he can't wait to work with me. They trust me, Walk. I need to open up an investigation that allows me to look into what happened to George.
How are you going to do that without tipping them off?
I gotta use the right bait.
Maybe throw them under the bus a little bit in order to find out, like basically find a relic and tie it to them just to get the ball rolling on an investigation. I love mysteries so much. I got in trouble when I was in grade school for sitting there reading a book of mysteries, and it was one of those ones that had pictures you had to use too, with a magnifying lens. So I was sitting there with my magnifying lens going through these pictures, and it got confiscated by the teacher, the book and the magnifying lens. The teacher never gave them back. I'm still salty about that all these years later. Pez! The Pez shall shake the foundations of the earth. I tell you, just the idea of Pez being incredibly important to solving some huge conspiracy is hilarious to me. So yeah, a lot to chew on in that episode. We got a little more, I guess, information about how their society works in terms of, like, you know, the connections between the different groups. And so it does look like Judicial is in charge of the sheriffs, which makes sense. I mean, it is all, you know, law enforcement and everything. I think in our system there is a separation, though, in terms of like who each side reports to, if that makes sense. They work together, but I think technically the law side is controlled by the legislative branch, and the judicial branch is its own, obviously, separate thing. I'm from the United States, in case you're wondering what type of system I'm talking about. I believe that's how it works. So they remain independent of each other, even though they work very closely together. And obviously both are involved with the law. It looks like there's some level of independence here as well, but that functionally the judicial side of things has more power. But yeah, looking at the people who run the silo now, who basically sit atop everything, it looks like it's the mayor, well, no, it does make sense. The head of IT, the judge, and the sheriff. And I guess technically the person who runs down below, or, the down deep or whatever, I don't know whether to call her the person in charge of mechanical or what, but like that person, I guess, is also on the same level as the other leaders. It was very nice to see, them work a story that demonstrated that Juliette does have the actual sort of the capacity to do well as sheriff. Even though she's lacking the knowledge to really be qualified for the job, she does have the sort of soft skills, I guess you could say, to do well in the position. Bernard appears to have recognized that, but I don't know if I can trust him. I still think he's working an angle and ultimately trying to get her replaced, but he could be genuine. I could be wrong. Billings is an interesting character. He seems, at least, to have his primary focus be on the law, which could make him someone who would go against judicial when he realizes that they're acting in bad faith. You know what I mean? That they're not really concerned as much with the purpose of the law, so much as they are just, people who are willing to do literally whatever they think is necessary to maintain order. And there's a whole lot of breaking the law you can do to maintain order. And so I'm hoping that will drive him to be someone that Juliette can actually rely on, rather than just being a spy for judicial, which is, I think, one of the big reasons they have him there. They have him there for obviously two reasons. One is to spy on her, but also obviously they're hoping she will fall apart, or do something that they can use to push her out. And obviously, as her chief deputy, he would step right in, unless of course she named someone else and they decided to follow the same tradition that got her in there and honor her pick. But I somehow think that they would find a reason to ignore it.
What? We would never.
The single biggest thing, though, in terms of new mysteries that we got here, was the door that Sims came out of. What is behind Janitorial? If you guys remember Lost, this is this series' The Hatch. I was going to say it was the door that George was talking about, but no, they can't be they're not the same door, because the door he found was on that schematic, and it wasn't that where Common was, where Sims was. At first I thought that was the hatch, but I think that's even deeper. That the door George was looking at is the what is it, the cork or whatever. I think it's the chamber. You guys know what I'm talking about if you're fans of Lost. But this, I think, is the series hatch. We're gonna get our first really huge, holy shit, recontextualization of all the information when we find out what's behind Janitorial door. I wonder how much of Sim's story was true that he told the guy. I imagine pretty much all of it was. Basically, he discovered his dad was not really a janitor. I mean, he was, but that's not truly his function in the silo. And now Sims has the same function. And it makes me wonder if he is actually more powerful than the judge.
That's ridiculous.
Because that's the thing with a society like this, considering that there's so many secrets, there's probably a significant difference in this place between statutory power and real power. There are people whose positions say they have, this level of power, but for reasons that are secret to 99% of the people here, their true power is up here. I think Bernard is one of those people. I think he has a high level of statutory power, but I think he has a level of power that's not statutory, that is far above what people think it is. And Sims is another one of those people. I think his statutory power is significantly below the judge. Or maybe not significantly. I get a feeling he's like basically her chief lieutenant. So I can't really think of an analog in our culture for what he would be, because I don't think he actually tries cases. It seems like the judge is the only person who actually does try cases. But I don't know. Maybe he would be considered like a prosecutor, like a... Oh, I know. Yeah, maybe he's like a district attorney.
I don't think he actually tries cases.
Analog to our system, he would be the U.S. attorney. That's what he would be. I finally have a place to put him, I think.
Are you sure?
And she's the actual chief magistrate or whatever, chief judge.
Attorney General.
I think when we find out the answer of what's behind that door, it's gonna blow our freaking minds. Anyway, if you're following along with me, if you haven't gotten past here, please feel free to leave your speculation in the comments. If you have gotten past here, as always, feel free to talk about it with other people who also have, but use your spoiler warnings. Please say what episode you're spoiling up to if you've read the books. Also say what, if you're spoiling the books. Want to try to keep me fresh and your fellow tasty morsels who have not gotten past here yet fresh as well. Thanks so much for watching this with me. I am going to jump straight into the next episode because I'm super eager to find out what the hell's going on. As always, do your best to stay safe and be well, and I will see you for the next one. Bye-bye.